very short takeoff roll. It's a pretty slow roll there. He's fishing for an opening is what he's doing. So normally this would be a half T. He's gone up to take a look at the cloud now. So setting up for the first maneuver and doing a bit of a weather check at the same time.
So the amount of G, positive and negative, is going to be displayed by the Super Hornet. It's a very impressive aircraft throughout the display. They're quite extreme, aren't they?
Yeah, we're going to display the aircraft at its limits, both positive and negative. So he'll reach 7.5 Gs a day, up to -3. Probably should be -2 in this other show. About -10 or 20.
And yet the Super Hornet just powers itself away.
Yeah, and that's again the intent of the display to show that we can, darn near stop the airplane in flight at angles of attack and then accelerate right out again. And even when it appears to have stopped, it can still move the nose laterally or in pitch.
Rolling under G, aren't you? That's a sideways. It's a high G, relatively high angle attack for that one. And we call it the pirouette. And that would be an upright pirouette. And I'm foreshadowing the fact that later in the program you'll see an inverted pirouette, more or less the same maneuver, but started from the inverted position to upright. You must have an awful lot of fun putting the flight program together for this.
That was terrible, you hit it. So this is what we call a loaded roll, a high alpha roll, where it really pulls the airspeed out of the airplane doing that, and ideal setup for the high angle of attack pass. Bypass to fly away safely. You don't want higher angles of attack at slower speed when you go altitude.
I mean, it must be the job of a lifetime to be sometimes sitting in an office with your engineers, your avionics engineers, your people are planning, and you're thinking, what can we do, where can we develop it? You get your plot together, your plan, and then you go out and fly it and approve it.
Slowing down to probably about 110 knots. But you're really capturing the essence of the job with that description strategy. Our job is to work with the engineers, connect the dots, as I say, connect the dots between widely spaced concepts in trying to find solutions to any technical problems in the development of the airplane. Knife edge pass. Before reversing out and repositioning for what normally would be the square loop, but I think given the weather that he has right now, he's going to have to be limited to the loaded roll.
So to be a test pilot, you must must have been awful as a kid, because you must have been crying about everything. Why does it do that? How does it do that? How can I make it better? I bet you took radios apart and put them together.
That's usually the first symptom. You know, if you were a kid that, or if you're out in the audience today and you're a kid that takes things apart and likes to put them back together, you're probably exhibiting the traits. Full pedal, full 360. The stick, you just pull it all the way back to the C-pan and just power out of it. Very nice. And now the high-speed pass. We come out of that maneuver at probably about 120 knots or so, you know, really just private aircraft speed. And now he's accelerating through 250, through 350. We generally enter this turn somewhere between 350 and 450 knots. You can just see the airplane accelerating. And then the limit here at Farnborough is 600 knots, and he may reach that here as we get to the flybys, probably in the range of 500. This is a 7.5G wind down turn, as we say. He's going to maintain 7.5 Gs. As the speed decays, the radius is reduced, and that's just a function of aerodynamics. And you can see just turned inside of his own circle, kind of ending up at the center of it, with a reducing radius turn, maintaining the G and losing the airspeed, and then reversing the turn now with gear and flaps for the full stop landing.
I think that's a really neat maneuver, from that high speed to just reduce and reduce. It's almost like a tiny sort of figure 9 at the end. It's
correct.
I think that's really slick. That really is very neat. That
it's probably the smallest amount of airspace you could do that in, because once you reach 550 to 600 knots, you have
reaching the sky.
Yeah, now you have to do something with it. You know, you could end up over downtown London pretty quick at that speed.
We wouldn't appreciate that. There's Olympic airspace problems. Mind you, I don't know what we got that could catch you.
That's right, just zip it straight on. Keep on going if you did it, I guess.
Yes, don't come back.
So this is a full flap landing, probably about 125 knots now, very slow, 3-degree glide path all the way to touchdown. You'll probably not flare to show a Navy type landing. There we go, without a flare. And it looked like a bit of a controlled crunch to the ground, but I can attest that it's very soft in the cockpit with those Navy designed for landing gear.
So you obviously done takeoffs and landings?
You know, I'm an Air Force pilot in Canada, and so we didn't have carriers, but the Navy was kind enough to take me out and to the carrier once, and I had a chance to do it, and I can attest it's a controlled crash.
Yes, you are aiming for the target and don't muck about.
Yeah, and don't even think about flaring, or you just miss the end of the boat off the front. Yeah.
That's got to be. Ricardo, it's a great privilege that you come to join us here at Farnborough. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've appreciated it. To have any of the people who do test flying to come be able to talk about it is unique. But to have a man of Ricardo's, I'm not going to keep.
You keep going.
I mean, you know.
Well, Stratton, I appreciate it. Thanks for the